Hello everyone, it's Space Chaser again. Welcome to another video. So I recently had a request in one of the comments for my video. Somebody said, can you do a video looking at your model bus collection please, Space Chaser? Well yes I can. I should warn you before I start that there's not quite as many as you might think there are. I've had hundreds of buses through my hands over the years, but like a lot of people I had to sell my collection at one point, the whole relationship break up, move into a tiny flat kind of thing, and I lived in a series of tiny flats. Nowadays I live with Mrs. Pacer Chaser, but Mrs. Pacer Chaser doesn't want model buses all over the house for some reason. I don't quite understand it myself. So I've got a display case downstairs which we're now looking at, and I've got part of a spare bedroom upstairs as a workshop. Again, I've only got part of it because Mrs. Pacer Chaser wants a bed and bedroom furniture in there and all that kind of thing. So there aren't as many as you might think. I do Code 3 repaints, as regular viewers may know. I don't do them commercially, I don't take commissions, I don't make any profit out of them. But a lot of them, I do sell them on once I've done them, simply because I haven't got room to store them. I enjoy doing them, but I've not got room to put them afterwards. It seems a shame just to put them away in a box. So I tend to sell them usually for the price of the donor vehicle, plus a bit for the transfers and a little bit towards the paint. Similarly with the ones that I do for review, the factory edition ones that I do model reviews of, I do tend to sell quite a lot of those off as well once I've finished with them. They might sit on the display shelf for a few weeks or months, but I tend to sell them on and then use the money to buy other ones that I can review. Unfortunately, I don't know anybody who's got a model shop who lets me have, second-hand or even new buses to review temporarily, so I have to actually buy them. But we'll have a look at what we've got. We'll start with the display case. Again, as regular viewers will know, I'm currently living in the Grimsby area. So we start at the top of the display case. We've got three Grimsby models, the Corgi OOC Wayman Motorbus, the Corgi OOC Row Motorbus. Both of those have had review videos done about them. Most of the models that you're going to see have either had a review video or they're featured in a Code 3 one. As I'm recording this, I've done a series of videos about my Code 3 models, just having a look at them in little groups, little batches. I haven't actually posted that at the moment. It is waiting to be posted, so it may have been posted by the time this video appears, or it may still be to post, but it will appear. So most of these models, as I say, you will see in another video, or you will have seen it in another video. Having said that, one that hasn't appeared is this vehicle. This is one of the Corgi East Lancashire motor buses. It is the Bradford Corporation one. I've very hastily, and I mean literally hastily, about 10-15 minutes worth of work, converted it into a Grimsby one. You can't actually buy the Grimsby Cleethorpes Transport lettering, but you can get the crests on the internet, so I've put crests on it, but it's got no fleet name in between. Very roughly done. It's got a CIS insurance advert bunged on the side of it, shop at bins, quite a crudely done destination blind. It's not my best work, and quite frankly it does need redoing, but it just gave me a Grimsby bus in a few minutes basically. Apologies by the way for the lighting. Where the display case is, the lighting isn't brilliant. I'm doing the best I can with it, but it's not as I would normally choose it to be, but please, as I said, bear with me. Next to that, you've got a couple of EFE White Alexander Y-type Leopards. They're featured together in a review video. Again, this is a Grimsby one here. This the one with the large windows. If you can see that around the side. But it's on the 51 from Grimsby to Louth. Next to that, you've got another EFE model as EFE intended it, the Roadcar Scania, the right access ultra low. Next to that, you've got a EFE Volvo. Just bear with me. That's featured in two videos. When it arrived, it was in Delane livery and it was quite battered. The paint was all chipped. The door was missing, the windscreen was broken, but I had some spare parts, so I managed to put it back together again, and I've repainted it, as you can see, into the Blackburn Bus Company Valley Line livery. So it featured in a model review in the condition it first arrived, and then it also featured in a separate video when I showed what I'd done to it. Next up, we've got a Bristol LS. This is one of the white metal kits that I bought already assembled. I'm rubbish at building white metal kits. It was on eBay. It was looking a bit sorry for itself. It was in a fictional livery. It had been built many years ago. It had been very well built, but it was looking a bit tired after years of storage. It had the back wheel set missing. Again, luckily I had a spare wheel set in my spares box. So I bought it, I painted it into royal blue livery, some transfers off the internet, and then just generally restored it and gave it a bit of love and care. And then next to it there's some Code 3s that that feature on my Code 3 videos that I've already shot as I'm doing this. There's a tow truck in first Midland Bluebird livery, cut down from a EFE Y-type. You've got the Y-type Leopard there in Urban and District livery, that's a straightforward repaint. There's another Y-type in Lowland Scottish livery. And another bus that hasn't made it yet into any of the other videos is this one. This is one of the Corgi East Lancashire Millennium bodied vehicles. Back in about 2016, 2017, I had a fictional fleet called Rutland Links. It was supposed to be one of the joint ventures between Centrebus and somebody else. So at the time they had Huddersfield Bus Company and the Centrebus operations around Leeds that were joint with Arriva. They also ran Hinckley Bus jointly with Arriva. And they had High Peak with Wellglade, Trent Barton, which is the only one that's still going, the only joint venture. As I said, joint between Centrebus and Wellglade. So that was based on it. It was a joint venture between Centrebus and a kind of unspecified independent operator somewhere in the Rutland and South Lincolnshire area. They used Centrebus livery. I got a few vehicles, most of them were sold off, but this one was retained. This is known as Eileen. You can just about see the name on the front there. So it was a repaint, and I also used it to cheer up my then mother-in-law. She was very ill at the time. So one of the things I did as part of this fictional fleet, I invented a radio station because I wanted the buses to carry local adverts rather than just having the generic ones you can buy on the internet. So I wanted local things. I invented a few local businesses, to be fair, but I also invented a radio station called Fen FM. And the idea was that then the buses could carry adverts for Fen FM, and it would just give them a bit of a local identity, a bit of personality. So I gave Eileen, my mother-in-law at the time, the Sunday morning breakfast show, as you can just about see there, if the camera will focus. You know, Sunday mornings with Eileen, listen or else. And that was a joke because she hated Sundays and she particularly didn't like Sunday mornings. She was always in a bad mood. And it had the desired effect, it cheered her up. And that's one of the many good things about Code 3s. You can use them, you can personalise them, you know, you can make them about family members and things like that. So coming down, we've got the East Yorkshire a little bit there. Again, I'll just try and get the camera to focus, and apologies for the light. As regular viewers will know, again, I grew up in just outside Hull. Travelling on the East Yorkshire buses, East Yorkshire served the area that I lived in. My dad drove for East Yorkshire, so it was only natural I should have some East Yorkshire models. Most of these first ones are repaints. We start off with this Mark II VR. And this is East Yorkshire's 942 modelled on the 824 to Hornsey, the express route. I believe it was summer only. Every summer holiday, me and my mum used to go to see my mum's best friend at Seaton, just outside Hornsey, and we used to get the 824, the fastest of the buses available. It was always a Mark II VR from Hornsey Depot. So this is 942 that's been modelled. Registered GAG 49N. And as you can just about see up on the front seat upstairs, there is a lady and her young son. So it's basically me and my mum modelled, travelling along on the bus with very few other passengers, as there always seemed to be. There didn't seem to be anybody on it when we travelled on it. But yeah, that's why I've got that one. This is a Mark III VR. This is 517 PAG 517W. This was a bus that seemed to turn up every time I went to get on a bus when I was a young kid. It always seemed to be 517. So I decided to model it. The reason it's on route 350, which was Hull to Scunthorpe, is that I was going to do a diorama of Scunthorpe bus station at one point, as it used to be. I didn't end up doing the diorama, but instead of putting the bus on my local route, which was the 4 or the 104, it was a circular, it changed number halfway around. I put it on the 350 so it could appear on the diorama, but then as I say, I never did the diorama. 519 is next, PAG 519W. This was the bus that East Yorkshire painted in 1983 into the traditional dark blue and primrose livery. It was done as a morale booster. There was a lot of uncertainty in the bus industry at the time about privatisation and deregulation. You know, passenger numbers were falling, the companies were getting more and more broke as time went on. The morale was fairly low, so they did this bus, as a lot of operators did buses in old liveries, just to give a bit of a morale boost to the staff. And it worked, it did. It really did boost morale. So I remember getting on it one day as a kid to go up to Bridlington with my mum and dad. It was on the Route 821 to Scarborough, the summer-only route, one of the breakaways, as they called it, that they used to run in the summer holidays. And this turned up, and I remember sitting on the front seat upstairs, putting my head against the window so you could see the sill and see that it was actually dark blue and not the normal red. So there it is, modelled on the 821 to Scarborough. I've just brought one of my modelling lights down from upstairs just to try and get a bit of light on the subject. This next one is an EFE model, just as EFE intended it, the Mark II VR in the National Bus Company blue livery that East Yorkshire used for a couple of years in the 1970s. You've got a B-Series Leyland National next to it. It was new as a West Yorkshire one. It's had its transfers redone to be East Yorkshire. That does feature in a video about a starter project for Code 3 vehicles. And it's modelled on what was the route that went past my house, the number 2. Next up, we've got a model of the open-top Bristol RE that East Yorkshire acquired from United in 1986. In one of its earlier versions of the livery. It is a little bit wrong. I've cut the roof at the wrong angle, but it looks alright. It looks like what it's supposed to be. And, that's about all we can ask for, really. Next door to it, we've got another couple of EFEs, again, as EFE intended. Just try and get some light on them. There we go, that's better, isn't it? You've got the Route Master in East Yorkshire livery there. And then you've got the Mercedes minibus in Scarborough Skipper colours. Next to that, you've got a Leyland PD2 with the Beverley bar roof. That was a working models kit. It was an absolute pig to build. It does appear in one of my Code 3 videos. But yeah, it was an absolute nightmare to build. It really was. Corgi OOC Olympian next to it in the East Yorkshire maroon livery. You've got a couple of Scania Metropolitans in Hull Corporation livery, just bringing up the end of this shelf. If we go down onto the shelf below, there's a Merthyr Tydfil Bristol L, again as Corgi intended it, just in the corner there. That was because I repainted loads of them in different liveries. Sorry, just trying to get a light to balance there. But yeah, I'd repainted quite a lot of them in different liveries, and I just felt I should have one as Corgi intended it. Next to it, there's a Corgi Toys Mercedes minibus that's been very crudely converted into one of the ones that Leeds City Transport had. It is basically a toy, but they do make half reasonable models. You've got the EFE East Yorkshire open top VR next to it. You've got a kit built Iveco in the livery of Kingston upon Hull City Transport KHCT, the Royale minibus livery. You've got a little Pennine display, Pennine of Gargrave and later of Skipton. You've got a little Lido half cab single decker. The EFE Leyland National, again as EFE intended it. And then you've got a Dennis Dart that was resin kit built, painted into their livery. Kit built Bristol LH, that's another white metal kit that I bought already built and just repainted. That one is in delivery of Gironda Travel of Selby. Then you've got a Corgi OOC Western Greyhound Mercedes Vario next to it. There's the Corgi Gorewoods Coaches Bedford SB. Sorry, not Corgi, EFE. Gorewoods Coaches Bedford SB. And then the 150th scale Bedford OB in Granville Tours of Grimsby livery. Behind that you've got the Corgi OOC Wayman Motorbus, the London STL in green livery with a Lido Doncaster trolleybus on top of it. And an N-scale Plaxton coach, Plaxton Elite in delivery of Jones of Logan. There's a couple of souvenirs of my trip to Prague behind. It's kind of things they sell in tourist shops in Prague. That's where they came from. A RegioJet locomotive, which doesn't really look like any of the ones RegioJet run, but hey, a little Prague tram in its box at the bottom. Another toy minibus there, done as the one that East Yorkshire had in open top form. A Ford Transit done as a Code 3 with bus vanning, Isle of Man. Logos on it, transfers, one of the dinky streamlined buses that appeared in a video about dinky toys that I did a while back. You can find that on my channel. And then underneath them there's the Corgi OOC Plaxton Premier in National Holidays livery. Again, that's been on one of the review videos. So that's it for the display case. As you can see, the back of it's covered with registration plates that have from old buses, mainly ex-East Yorkshire ones or ones that worked for East Yorkshire. Mrs. Percy Chaser wasn't impressed with that. As you can just about see behind, there's a kind of weird looking old-fashioned material. This was my mum's china case really, but she had a tea service in it, and then obviously when my parents passed away I got the case and I thought, oh, well, make a good display case for buses, but I didn't really like the material background, so I had a load of old registration plates kicking about, so I've kind of attached them to it. But yeah, Mrs. Percy Chaser wasn't impressed. Turns out she actually liked the material back that was on it originally. So then we come upstairs to the workshop area, and you've got various vehicles on the display shelf waiting for things. There's the Corgi Hong Kong Leyland Atlantean there. There's a little Code 3 Shaper. That was one of the Wins Circus ones that Oxford Diecast do. Partly repainted to cover up the branding and done in Highland Scottish livery. I did a couple of them, passed one on to a friend of mine who models Highland Scottish, and just kept one myself. It's a bit fictitious that Highland Scottish ran a variety of vehicles, but not actually some freight rover Shapers. But, you know, it looks realistic enough. Next to it is a Route Master that I've done in London livery, and modified it to make it look like it's got a side wheelchair door. It's got the extra pillar in the window there, you can see. And it looks like it's got a hinge door to allow wheelchair access. You can't really see inside it in this lighting, but there's some seats removed as well to make a wheelchair bay inside. It's based on a rail one. One of the rail ones had it done. That was a model that was for sale on eBay in a very battered condition. It was a Reading mainline one, but it was all chipped paint and, you know, bits scratched and missing. The guardrails underneath were broken off, and I thought nobody's going to buy that, so in the condition it's in, so I bought it. I was hoping to restore it because I like Reading mainline, but it was too far gone. It needed a full repaint, so I did it like that one. It's not actually got a home. It was in the display case for a little bit, but as you can see, I've taken it out of there. It was going to go into a fictional fleet, but that never got off the ground, so at the moment it's just on my display shelf. Next to it is V3, which is featured in a video already. It's still waiting restoration, as you can see. It was bought in this condition with some of the windows missing and various other problems, but it's still waiting its turn on the bench. I'm going to be honest, I haven't done any modelling for quite a while because I did loads of it and then I just kind of burnt myself out, so I'm having a bit of a rest. But when I restart, that is ready to go. Corgi Toys Route Master in East Yorkshire livery. I've had that for many, many years, and it's just kind of stood there basically. It's not a scale model, but yeah, it's nice to have, it's nice to keep. You've got a Burkina Neoplan Skyliner next to that. That's actually waiting a minute to have a review video done of it, and then it will go onto my display shelf here. It's a Greater Manchester Standard Atlantean that's waiting to be repainted into probably GMS buses livery, and you've got a DMS Fleetline, a B20 Fleetline should I say, that's had a review video done about it, and that again is waiting I think for repaint. We're looking possibly at Ralph Bullock of Manchester for that one, but I'm not 100% sure. There's a Reitz Neoplan Skyliner that's had a review video filmed of it as I'm doing this one. Underneath that there is a Reitz Neoplan Megaliner. Quite like Neoplan double-deck coaches, you'd never tell, would you? Nottingham 666 is still there waiting to be built in its box. The Leyland Atlantean with Northern Counties bodywork. Again, I did a video on that. Coming up was a couple of Stevenage Superbuses, the EFE Road Leyland National and the Britbus AEC Swift. Behind that there's a Britbus Bus Aaron MCW Metro Rider, and under there there's my 1/43 scale Prague SOR City Bus. And there's various other things waiting to see what I'm going to do with them. There's this ancient Keelcraft Foden 8-wheeled tipper truck basically that I painted many years ago, about 1991 I think it was, in this Hargreaves Quarries livery with the sort of lettering on the side. Not quite sure what I'm going to do with it. It needs finishing off really, but yeah, it's been like that for about 30 years. There's a few buses there that I painted for my niece. She's outgrown them now, so they're just stood here waiting to be done. These are the Corgi Toy Mercedes that I'd converted the Leeds one and the East Yorkshire open topper from. So they may get conversions to look a bit more like normal buses. There's also a Mercedes 307 mobile shop, which I might look at converting to a bus. We've got a lorry cab behind that. That's one of the ones that Poundland had in stock. I believe they still sell them in the Entertainer, the same casting. If you take the whiz wheels off it that it comes with and just give it a bit of attention, bit of detail painting and stuff, it makes quite a nice little model, as you can see. Just bring these down. You've got a couple of Ford, well, you've got a couple of vans there. There's a Ford Transit van that's had an extra window painted onto it, and then there's a Mercedes Sprinter van that's again just had some black painted onto the side to make it look like a minibus. And then you've got a Northcord Sprinter that was bought without the front grille or bumper, so they're homemade items. It's been done in bus van in silver livery. To represent one of theirs. It's not the best model I've ever done, but you know, looks reasonably enough. The other two were again part of a fictional fleet, but they've that's fallen by the wayside a little bit. So again, they're just waiting to see what I'm going to do with them. We move across slightly. We've got a few buses waiting for sale. There's an EFE Solent Blue Line VR. There's a Black Prince Scania, a Weardale PD3, and a Dublin Bus Olympian. These have all had review videos done about them, and but I can't find a use for them, so they're up for sale at the minute, and we'll see how they go. Hopefully they will find a buyer, and you know, I can use the money to buy other models that I can review. And next up is that box of vehicles that we've all got. There are some buses in there. There's a Mercedes, again that was done for a fictional fleet, which kind of didn't get off the ground. It's a similar conversion to the Leeds one, as you can see, with the larger 4-leaf door and the sticking up destination box there. But yeah, we'll see what we do with that one. Probably paint it into Leeds livery. From the same fleet, there's a Bedford CA little minibus as well, and then there's the I think it's an Austin J2 or a Morris J2 in Barton Transport livery, as produced by Oxford Diecast. Oops. There's another, the Corgi Toys Mercedes minibuses there, just waiting to be converted into something. But yeah, I always try and keep a stock of vehicles like that, just so I've got something to work on if I've not bought anything, you know, if I'm a bit skins, for want of a better word, and can't afford, you know, to buy a donor model in a particular month to do a proper Code 3 repaint. I've got them little projects that I can come to and just have something to work on. Bizarrely, we've got a few of these as well, these toy coaches. I'm going to do a bit of a review of those and have a quick look and see how you can make them look like a scale model. I've not filmed that yet as I'm doing this one, but I will be doing it shortly. And last but not least, you've got my kind of VRX. This is an EFE Mark 1 VR that's been roughly converted, and I mean roughly, to look like one of the VRX prototypes. So it's had the back window modified, made deeper, and a dividing bar put in. It doesn't look particularly brilliant, but it kind of captures the spirit of the real vehicle. Obviously, it's the wrong length. The real vehicle was longer than the later VRT. But that lives quite happily on this little diorama. As you can see, a bit of a backdrop of some houses and things from Bristol, just printed off from the internet. The Fish Ponds Tavern there was featured in the TV series Skins. But yeah, just very rough, half a road, bit of a bus lay by, and then it just stands at the stop there, with a taxi pulled in at the side there as well. And that's about it. I've got this bus garage. I think it's a Hornby Scaledale one. I bought it second hand in this rather battered condition, just waiting for restoration, and it will go on a diorama eventually. Whether it's this one or not, I don't know, because this is the one I use for doing model bus reviews. Just take the depot off it, and that's the backdrop in a lot of the reviews I've done recently. and some various model cars sat next to it waiting as well to see what we're going to do. But yeah, not the most impressive collection of model buses. I mean, it's not bad, but I've had many, many more, as I say, who've just had to be sold off for various reasons, or, you know, I've had to, when I've done the work on them, pass them on because I haven't got anywhere to put them. The storage shelf is looking fairly congested at the minute with different projects and things waiting to be done. I will clear it at some point and just have it as a display space, but even so, there's only a limit to, you know, how many vehicles I can get on. But yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this quick look, sort of behind the scenes at the models. Have a look out on my channel for the other videos that do feature these vehicles, the model reviews and the Code 3 series when I finally get around to putting it on. If any haven't appeared in those, they probably will appear in the future, so keep an eye out. You know, subscribe to the channel, you'll be notified when I do post the videos. But as always, thank you for watching, take care, and I will see you soon. Bye for now.